Okay.
Now we're recording. All right. So please, Etzion, tell us about the movie.
Okay. So this is Etzion from Israel. Today is the 7th of June, 2024. We'll start the meeting with a video which the Luck brothers took during 1971. They made the world tour going after the people who were associated with Meir Baba, and they took videos of them. And I have one which Irwin gave me just recently a permission to project it for the public. So we'll start with this.
Wow, you have become the expert in sharing screen.
You see it?
No, not yet.
You don't see it?
No. Let's see.
Because I didn't share.
Yeah, and you must hit the button for sound. There are two squares, sound and video. You have to click them.
Just I didn't share,
Ah,
share screen. Here it is. And, where is don't see here.
see the beautiful photo of Carrie.
Well,
Now,
this is a color of the. This is really rare, but I don't see anything of increasing the volume. Just a minute. Maybe there is something here.
what you haven't clicked play yet. Maybe the volume's okay if you click the.
Now, what is going to be that people, after the recording, people will be able to turn the volume higher. Here, I don't see what I can do about this. So,
My name is Carrie Ben Shammai. At the moment I live in Israel, in Jerusalem. I want to tell you something about the grace which the Master descended on us by giving us a chance to meet him in physics for the first time in 1956. And Baba was descending at Idlewood Airport and waved like an ancient acquaintance when I saw him for the first time in my earthly life. Later on, I was once more introduced to Baba when he left the airport. And I saw him again at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel when he received everybody for a few minutes. I knew that this was the end of my search for the perfect master. And ever since, there has not passed a moment, the breath of a moment that I have not been in inner contact with Baba, to me the only one existing forevermore. Later on, Baba arranged it, my first flight on this earth plane, to travel with him to Myrtle Beach from New York and spending a number of days in his presence there. First, we were put outside the center, but Baba felt our necessity to be near him, and he put me into the lagoon cabine. And I had the task to clean the first thing in the morning his cabin. And I used to come out into the woods there when nobody was up I was sitting in the middle of the dense woods, praying towards God to open my heart towards the perfection and beauty and love compassion of our beloved Baba. Then suddenly, having sat there for about quarter of an hour, raising my eyes, Baba, perhaps 2 meters away, stood there on the bridge, waving towards me. I ran towards Baba. I tried to look into his eyes. I couldn't grasp his eyes. But Baba knew all about me, and he put his hand to his mouth, telling me to run towards breakfast. I was running towards Baba. I was trying to look into his eyes, but I could not grasp it. Then Baba put his finger to his mouth, saying I should go to run for breakfast. So I turned running, Baba looking after me, appearing at the table. It seems like a ghost, because one of the American old disciples remarked, "Funny, I didn't notice Carrie coming into the room." I knew why he had not noticed, because I had just been seized by the highest of spirit. And another American disciple girl sitting next to me said, "Well, Carrie just came in." Now, I had been meditating intensively on the God-man, whom I had met for the first time in my earthly wandering and seeking. Drawn by that intense meditation, Baba suddenly had to come from his house towards the bridge. Then many other happenings were going on in that extraordinary wood. I was sleeping on the bridge, and all night long I heard the frogs calling out, "Baba, Baba, Baba, Baba." And I was all the time thinking, if I could receive the awakening kiss of the Master. Now, when it was time to go on from Myrtle Beach to California, and Baba thought that was quite enough for the moment, because I had been a guest of his at Myrtle Beach, and I could not separate from Baba because I was inconsolable, having been seeking for him for unending times. I had met my Master, and I had told Baba, "Let me go with you to India and sit at your feet and be guided by your grace. And then if I have to go back where I came from, Israel, I shall go back." But Baba gestured in the presence of Meherji, "Carrie, go straight back to Israel. You have entered my heart forever, and I shall enter your heart forever. And there will be no more separation." At the time I didn't even realize what it meant. Baba said to me, "I shall enter your heart forever, and you shall enter my heart forever, and we shall never be separated again." At this time I didn't even realize what it meant, but now after 11 years of that having happened, as I said before, there is not a breath of a moment when there is separation. Night and day, there is union, and everything which is being done which is being thought, is being done by Baba. And all our endeavor is to be empty of everything else but Baba's compassion and love. And a continual prayer for redemption of all creation invades our hearts. Well, I was telling about coming back towards the breakfast table. And after having said that, but I still could not separate and stood before Baba, Meaji on his side, all alone that wood. Then Baba gave that awakening kiss. I was immediately consoled. I sat some distance away because other people were approaching Baba. I had the impression that had been Christ, having recognized our hearts, longing on the path for eternal union. Well, I have to think of how that happened. That was the first year I was. In 1958, I was traveling by boat towards Baba's Havas in Myrtle Beach, and all along on the boat, sitting in utter isolation, I was always having the thought of lying down my life for Baba, because I thought, what is my life? And having arrived in Myrtle Beach, Baba immediately called me as one of the first newcomers, sitting in the lagoon cabin with him, Adi, and some other Baba mandali. When I was sitting on the stool next to Baba, I knew nothing else but Baba. Baba said to the mandali, Carrie always writes to Mani, and Mani always reads her letters to me, and they make me extremely happy. Baba used to explain that meant that Baba was giving his grace to us when he said that it made him happy. Regarding that weeping business, once we were sitting in Myrtle Beach on the floor. I was sitting right at the back and crying. Some neighbors offering me hankies. And so Baba, he signed and made a sign of wiping my eyes. And we all had to laugh that among all these people, he recognized my tears for him. Whenever I saw Baba, I had to cry fearfully, without stoppage, because I'd come into the presence of the God-man, and I felt that the most ancient things having been suppressed, the longing for the union with the divine, had been awakened in the presence of the divine beloved. So things were loosening in the most subconscious of my heart. Now, I had forever been expressing on my own alone my love for Baba in dancing, in own individual dancing. And I had always desired to bring this kind of worshipping before Baba. Since Baba reads all your thoughts, this is very natural to him. In '69, when we were having a meeting in Pune, at the end of the meeting, suddenly I found myself, without being conscious of it, in front of the assembly. There must have been several hundred of people. I was dancing in utter worship and devotion before Baba and some Indian players in front of me. Then again in '69 there was a special meeting between the mandali women and myself in Guru Prasad. The Australians had left and I had stayed by mistake, I might say, by Baba's will, for one day longer. Although I had booked at the same time. Regarding the meeting, sitting on the stool next to our beloved, Baba told the mandali, Carrie is always writing to Mani, and Mani always brings her letters to me, and they make me very happy. Meaning, in Baba's words, giving my grace to someone. Regarding the weeping, I always experienced a reawakening of ancient suppressions through the presence of the divine. And I believe in several parts of Baba's teaching, Baba explained the meaning of that weeping. Once we were sitting, shall I talk?
Yes.
We were sitting on the ground in Myrtle Beach. I was sitting on the other end, far away from Baba, and crying my head out. And Baba gestured to wipe my eyes. When at another instance Baba threw a hanky towards me. And it was always a reawakening of the ancient unity with a master, with a great perfect master, which took place at such moments. When I kept on weeping without stoppage, then Mayor G once said to me, Carrie, why don't you stop crying? Because Baba said he has entered your heart forever, and you have entered his heart forever. But nevertheless, the stream of tears went rolling on and on. In '69, when I was once more received by the mandali women, once more, in '69, when I was received once more by the mandali women, Mani, Mary, and all our beloved sisters in Meherazad, I entered Guru Prasad Hall in singing and dancing, worshipping Baba, and I realized that this had been my chance I had been looking for, expressing my devotion towards the Master in that way. Forever the Master knows all about all of us. All we need is
Wow. Beautiful. Oh, wow. Hmm.
Yes. It's a very rare video. Very thankful for Irwin to be willing to give me the video and be willing to project it this time. But in the beginning, I wanted to place it online on the YouTube. And he said he didn't agree for his own reasons. And now he did. So
Well,
this,
it will be there in your along with your other videos. People can access it now. Wonderful.
yes.
One.
Now what it is, it was taken in her home in Jerusalem. That's Street Chizkiyahu Melech 38, if I'm not wrong. If, I think I still remember. This is her porch, and we used to sit there, myself and Carrie. I met Carrie 72 at this apartment, two-room apartment, small apartment. She lives there with her husband, who was a top Israeli scholar. And I used to have discussions with him about Baba. He's the first to start to translate the discourses into Hebrew as per her request. All his work I received. I looked at it at that time after I received the center from Carrie, 1980. I told her the Hebrew is too high for the average reader, and I had to retranslate everything again. Eventually, it was accomplished and was published, as I was told you in the past. And Carrie, Baba really zapped her brains. She almost became a must. She was really on the verge falling there. I know it because I spent much time with her over the years, especially the last year in Jerusalem, where I used to come to her twice a day. She came from a very well-respected family of the Jewish Orthodoxy. Her father was first president of Jewish Orthodoxy in Eastern and Western Europe, like the Jewish Pope, if you want to. I used to call her the daughter of the Jewish Pope. And quite surprisingly, during that the last year after we came from Rabat, it was 79, said in the past, I hardly saw any family coming to take care of her. And she was already confined to a wheelchair, and I had to help her with everything she wanted, including the bathroom, including shopping, whatever you want. And she was quite a tough lady. I spoke about this, complaining Baba Center such an incompetent person who is not a Baba lover, because I never told her my first initial experience. I experienced Baba's in her room as a divine beloved. Why I didn't tell her? Because she all the time was telling me that Meir Baba is who he is, and she was talking all the time, and all the time I was quiet. I didn't dare to open my mouth. That's one of Baba's jokes. 14 years I spent time with her. I never told her that I know that who is Meir Baba. I knew who he is to the fullest extent when I looked at his picture. This picture was hanging next to my bed. I would look at him in the morning, look at him in the same picture which he gave me, as I call it, Baba realization. I'm not God realized, and Baba realized. I guess you understand the slight difference. For me, it doesn't matter.
So you say she just talked incessantly, it was hard to get a word in?
She couldn't stop talking, and mainly on Baba. And before I came to her, in the records I received from her, she had 3 centers. Also, I think she spoke with Martin Cook's video. Martin Cook, she told her story how she got to Baba in New York, 1956. So we got to Delmonico Hotel through the Winterfelds, etc. And she went to Myrtle Beach after that time because Baba requested Adele Walking to raise money from her. So Adele was standing in the entrance to the restaurant, if I'm not wrong, and requested the people donate some money to Carrie, and she got at least double than what was needed because Carrie ran out of budget. 1956, severe austerities in Israel. She and her husband managed to get to New York City to visit their relatives. She had her sisters living there. I don't know if she had a brother, or maybe one. And her husband won the lottery of Israel 1956, and it was enough for both of them to fly to New York. Quite a Baba miracle. If Baba wants something, and then she asked Mani, how is it possible from all the world that this one person from all the Jewish race, there were more Jews, but not an Israeli. She was the first Israeli to come. And I told her, must the WhatsApp thing, he has all the wills in the universe to execute his will. And he did, and he does. It's amazing, but when he does something, it's always a Baba story. It's not casual. It has to be something out of the ordinary. That's okay.
Etzion, for you, a young soldier, right, or ex-soldier, what an experience that you should be her caretaker. Wow.
Yes, what was after I came to Baba, as I told you, made a complete shift of my consciousness, which was just an ordinary human being, an earthly person. I didn't have any spiritual understanding whatsoever before that. And no religion, nothing, zero, even not zero, just a guy from the street. And he grabbed somebody from the street and turned his vision in an instant, 180 degrees. Who can do this? If I would go to a therapy or psychologist, spiritualists, philosophers, they would be able to work on me 50 lifetimes. They wouldn't achieve this, what he did in a second. Split of a second, check, just like this, bang. The whole thing was changed right away.
Did you say that's when you saw the poster? You saw his...
I saw his photo, yes, I saw his photo in her Baba room. One particular photo, as if he didn't come out of the picture. It was inside myself that recognized him. What I was in the past, I have no idea if I had past connection with him in the past. I guess it's possible because logically I received very poignant insights that takes a long time to be prepared to receive and accept and implement. For example, now it's 72, 73, 74. I was participating in this great war between Israel and Egypt and Syria. And during that war, you have to remember I was already at the war of 67 without Baba. But things happen all the time, but unusual things happen, but I didn't understand because I didn't have any spiritual understanding whatsoever at that time. But I remember that things happen, all kinds of strange coincidences. It was very strange. For one, and for then the other side, that it was a very tough army service and all the time in war, and you see the ravages of war and what human beings have been doing to each other, which is unbelievable. You watch it sometimes in the movies or CNN or whatever it is, but being inside the whole show is something very different. And then what happened, so 72, 73, 74 and onwards, when I was going to by law, we have to serve the country, the reserves. And Baba was using it to teach me the phenomenon of war, why there is a war, and how he takes advantage of it in the actual experience. He wanted me to understand the in and outs of war, which is not always bad. There are many fun and interesting things during the military service, you know, getting together with your buddies, you do all kinds of stupid things, and you it's kind of a free for all, and you get away from the world for a month or two, and we all used to go a little bit funny and crazy, do stupid things, and at the same time risking our lives on a daily basis, going in and out from all kinds of duties. It's Israel, it's war everywhere. The past 100 years, there is no 1 second of peace. It doesn't matter whom to blame. It is, and here is the answer, which came. So 73, 74, Baba gave me a few powerful insights. One of them, which was quite shocking at that time, I was receiving the insights that I am the very cause of that war. I caused it. And I was barely a corporal in the army. I was not a general, definitely not a politician. I was just a nobody. So that's kind of like, how come? From where this come? But there's no explanations. And I started to ponder. And I started to keep on studying. Why is it? And he was giving me these experiences, why there is a war and how he is using it. I had these kind of live experiences with him. His presence those days, 70s and early 80s, was almost physical. So his presence was obvious. And I was asking the questions, what do you want from all this? And the answer was, you will understand. That's the way he's teaching, through experience, and it's not a book learning. So everything I have been sharing with you based on actual experience. Sometimes I bring quotes, tell stories, that's okay, it's part of the game. But also to read things and his directives, etc., as part of his tutoring. And the next message was, in order to heal the phenomenon of war, a group of spiritually minded people should learn to get together and work together with harmony. Which today I say, after many years of studying music and participating in a musical band, that's a closer thing to spiritual circle. At that time, of course, I didn't have a faintest foggiest idea what a spiritual circle is and how to operate it. I didn't have not the experience, not the maturity to understand, etc., etc. That's a very long story. You cannot expect me more than 50 years ago to understand the little bit I understand today, hopefully. And then I set my mission to find people who are willing to work together, to do something together. And the people I knew and I've approached had some orientation with the Divine Beloved in the form of Jesus, for whatever reasons, to spiritual groups. This was the Divine Beloved. And usually Jewish people rejected the Master Yehoshua. That was his real name, Yehoshua or Yeshua. Yehu is the name of the Lord from Yahweh. Yud Hey Vav, this name of the Lord appeared before it was known in the Middle East, before the Israelites came to be. There were nations who worshipped Yahweh. It appeared in the archaeological finds, this name. So his name of Yehu, name of the Lord, Shua, salvation, which is the Lord of salvation. That's the name of Yeshua or Jesus Christ. And why the Jews rejected him, and this is a long story. We are not going to get into it. They didn't really reject him. They didn't care. We don't really know historically if he ever existed, but we know that he did. And all what you want to do is to bring the people together to their senses, because the whole country became extremely corrupt. And there was a civil war going on in the country of what they call it, the then Israel, or Judea, as it was called in the Roman Empire. The Jews were fighting between themselves before the Maccabean came over control of the people. It was considerably a big nation, between 2 to 5 million those days. Very large nation. If Rome was, I think, 20, 40 million, if I'm not wrong. I don't know exactly the numbers. I'm not a historian. But what Jesus actually want to do is to revive the spiritual circles, which was a task of the Hebrew nation under the command of Moses with the 12 tribes. I was explaining it in the book I wrote on the Torah, that the whole thing, the whole purpose of healing humanity, restoring the spiritual circles. And I kept on saying in the beginning of past few weeks, the beginning of each our sessions, welcome to the spiritual circle. Why this is a spiritual circle? Because we have here a few people who work together with harmony. At least we're not yelling at each other like in our parliaments. I cannot sit there more than 20 seconds without yelling at each other. Definitely not a spiritual circle. And we have our centering in the divine beloved. Without centering the divine beloved, this can never be a spiritual circle, because his presence has to be enlivened through us on earth, through our, and it doesn't matter the participants of the circle. Each one has his own unique centering, and it doesn't matter. Don't need to reach the 6th, 7th plane to participate in spiritual plane. There's nothing to do with the planes at all. Just learning to work together, just the same as in musicians. Learning to work together in musical bands, have to work together. That's why eventually I received this simile. You see, after many years of participating in music and musical bands, it came to me, it dawned on me, as if I received an insight. So this is a fine simile of the spiritual circle. So if you ask him, what is it? Say, look at the musical band, and just think for yourselves, as the musicians are centered on the divine beloved, and the conscious that they are creating a spiritual circle, which is the only means to restore humankind to its spiritual status. It's a link between heaven and earth. Humanity, Adam, his role has been to connect between spirit and matter, and not to be some clever, thinking animal creating all kinds of complicated, sophisticated toys. This has nothing to do with this. And when we look at humanity, it's a total loss of purpose. Building toys, building destructive things, hating each other, it's totally off. All of humanity is totally off, and there are droplets here and there, like this corner, that we speak about the truth, and how to heal it. So to heal it, you have to reconstruct the spiritual circles. But those days, it was 74, 6, 7, so 3 years. I've tried, I made a few attempts, as they failed. I got very hardly burnt by some, I got involved with a spiritual group, and it became all corrupted. It was crazy, and it was one of my most powerful dire experiences, because it took Baba quite a few years to get me out of this insanity. And they actually, through this bizarre experience, I've also realized his infinite capabilities of taking care of any situations that humans cannot do. He put me back together back more or less normalcy, more or less so I can continue to function. Because I got involved with something which you call even a black magic,
Oh,
meaning, yeah, he presumably in retrospect, he wanted me to understand the in and outs of black magic and in the outs of white magic. It was my first mentor, the first person I met before Carrie was a spiritual group of Rudolf Steiner in Tel Aviv. And the leader of the group was actually my spiritual mentor. And he was a mentor without mentoring. I think he was a very advanced soul. I wrote a tribute for him. I published a booklet in his memory after his passing. Maybe one day I can, it's actually on my website. Maybe I'll take a minute later and I'll show you the person. I wrote this for the community and I printed a few hundreds of copies, I think, but I don't know how many, and I gave it as brasa to the anthroposophical community. I gave it to them as a gift. And it's on their website. And I keep on assisting this community over the years by translating books of Rudolf Steiner. And the past few years, I've been assisting their website, editing translations of Rudolf Steiner articles from English to Hebrew. They need assistance. They don't do such a good work. I've been studying English the past for more than 40 years under Baba's tutorial. Whatsoever I know, as I told you in the past, everything, whatsoever I know is due to him. He is my master. He is teaching me. If I need to learn from a person, then the right person comes in. Or sometimes not the right person, even the wrong person. From wrong person, sometimes you learn more than the right person.
yeah. To learn what's not the truth.
It depends. It depends what. It depends what. It depends.
You feel,
Yes.
you feel that Carrie kind of pushed you to your limit? It seemed that maybe that that happened, that she really tested your ability to cope, to patience, and
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah.
As soon as I got to Carrie and I had this Baba experience, which was very vivid, and from on each time I came again to Carrie, I lived in Jerusalem at that time. And see how Baba was working his peculiar ways. I was living in Jerusalem, and Carrie lived in Jerusalem. Okay, just a minute. Okay. We'll wait for Betty for a minute. Okay. Quite right away. Okay. Quite right away. As I said, as soon Baba walked into my life, it was like the veil was rented. It was full understanding, full consciousness who he is. And I was under his command or spell whatsoever. And each time I was seeing Carrie, inside my heart, I would see him, his face, like a vision. And this face tells the whole tale. If you know how to read his face, the whole truth is there. But each time I would see a different face. But each time I would see in Carrie, his expression was very serious, very somber. And
Really?
the expression said, yes.
Uh-huh.
You want to say something?
Interesting. You say his expression was serious, somber. That's interesting.
Yes, it was very serious. And it says, you just dare to go on oaths with Michael. That's his face. And he was looking into me. And all the time for 14 years, each time I met her, I would see this expression vividly, just like this, see, obvious. And it happened also in different instances, but here it was very obvious, very vivid. And not ashamed, tell you, I was totally scared. I didn't know, maybe he will I'll break it, he will get mad at me, he'll throw me back to the gutter from where he picked me up. You never know. I learned that he's a tough guy. Don't mess around with him, you never know. There's also quite sharp experiences with his divine impatience or wrath, which is this is a real book. Experiencing his displeasure because it sets you, put you back in shape, put you back in the truth, in reality, and don't allow you to hover around in vain imagination and nonsense. Come back to focus. So if you need, I was doing it to the mandali. He was literally giving them slaps or kicking them to bring him back to reality. He was angry, of course not. It was just a shortcut. Instead, you will suffer billion years. They will realize the truth. I give you a good spank. You'll save you billion years of suffering. That's what it means. That's what it means. People from the side don't understand why Baba was so harsh. But if he is harsh to you, you made the right deal. if he's cute and soft to you, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but I'm not saying you have to sleep on a bed of nails and walk on barefooted on thorns. It's not going to do the trick. I don't know. There's no answer. There's no answer, but if you feel more comfortable, find ways to work hard. Don't be lazy. Don't be soft. Toughen up. So this severe army training was quite a prelude for all what had to come. Learning to bear the shenanigans of human beings, especially when they become spiritual. By 79, I was so fed up with spiritual people. I didn't want to hear anything about this. And when, to my horror, came that I have to take the center from Carrie by 80 because she became disabled. I told you in the past, I refused to do it. But this time, Baba didn't give me a kick in the butt, but left me alone. And after 3 weeks, I realized the folly of the whole thing. I want to serve him. That's what he wants. That's what I have to accept. So I accepted it. Until then, her stepson couldn't find a home for her. As soon as I told Baba, okay, I'm doing it, immediately he found a home for her. She would transfer to home. That was, and such things would happen. So each time Baba was using his tactics differently. Depends on the situation and the mentality of the individual. I suspect you all have had all kinds of experiences. If you focus on the beloved,
I know, the whole, you talk about your experience with black magic or whatever, white magic. Most of us have experienced false masters, or, getting many of us, I think, have experienced, false masters, I guess you'd call it, getting Baba, realizing what with Baba, there's no there's no more looking, you're there, that's it.
No, here it was, the difference was here because I was directed to people and I was commanded by him to look for people. And that particular group eventually became off the track. I don't have to say black magic. It's pretty hard expression. This is rare. The people became corrupt. They took advantage of embezzled money. We became a group of 30 people in Jerusalem. It's an old story from the 70s. And it could be successful, but some of the people who were the coordinators, as you call it, in charge, couldn't resist the temptations. There were good-looking girls and money. All of us were working. All the money was going like kibbutz in a pool. And only 2-3 people were deciding what to do with the money. There never was a group meeting how to handle the situation. Personally, they didn't know, even they had training. This particular group, spiritual group, was based on the idea of reconstructing the spiritual circles. And we're talking about this. The mentors was initially from the 30s and 40s spoke about how crucial it is. But we're dealing with human beings. Temptations are severe. We young people, we have less greed and anger. It's very, very hard at a young age to get over it. And some people are even in advanced age, when the hormones are cooling down, they cannot control it. But it was a very strong lesson because I developed quite an understanding about the wrong sides of esoteric knowledge, the usage, how dangerous it is, and today I can smell it. If I enter a group, I know where is it. I know what's going on, more or less. Also, I know these days, I don't get involved with this, but at that time, Baba commanded me, you get involved with this. It was my inner command. I had to obey it. It's very different. He wanted me to understand it, and he put me into the mud, and he took me out. How he put me there, and how he took me out, it's a very long story. I'm not going to burden you with this. All I'm telling you is that also this experience, after quite a few years of quite painful years, it's not easy to get out of it, but in retrospect, many years have passed, more than 40 years. I see things very differently. It was a necessary step at that time. It was a necessary step. I understand better the human mentality, the human psyche, the tendencies of humanity, the people who give high speeches and the emptiness and the void behind it, and you can sense that something is wrong there. And we are fortunate to come at the threshold of a being who is totally pure in this aspect. The highest form of white magic. And what is the difference between white magic and black magic? It's very simple. The simile is quite simple. You take care of a plant. You have a plant. White magic is you provide it with light, water, nutrition, and leave it alone. It goes as it likes. Black magic, you make all kinds of manipulations on the plant. I want the plant to be green. I want the plant to be red. I want it high. I want it low. I want it to left. I want it this. I want it to put on it, take one tree, and I want to go on it three kinds of different trees. This is black magic. And everything which is being coerced, everything being enforced. For example, all governments, all systems on earth are tinged with black magic, like the law enforcement. If the Lord would enforce his law, this world will evaporate in a split of a second. Won't be for even not a split of a second. Everything will evaporate right away. So the people enforcing the law, today I have the understanding, but I was part of the law enforcement when I was after the army. I thought that we are doing good things. I didn't know otherwise. They don't know otherwise. I don't blame them because we don't have a spiritual government on earth. How can we can, I see, sometimes I like to enter the pages of the Baba lovers who I know, Facebook or others. I receive their messages and they don't stop judgment and complaints about this and that. And they're complaining about themselves. They don't understand that whatsoever they say, whatsoever I see is my own creation in previous chapters. So you pinpoint a finger at yourself and you blame somebody else. Some people blame, for example, the would-be president of the United States, and I want to tell them, he was your son in previous lives. When you failed to raise him, go ahead and now take care of him. Here's your chance. You're complaining about him. What do you want him to evaporate? He is a fallen angel like all of us. Are we better? who can take such a challenge? Why to complain? He and others, whole world, all the leaders of the world don't have any sensing whatsoever about true leadership and true what needs to be done with humanity. They have no idea whatsoever. In a democratic world, I will make all of you happy. You will grant you the fulfillment of all your desires, and then you will be elected. And in the dictatorship said, I will decide what is good for you, and you have to comply with what I said, that this is wrong and this is wrong. Only spiritual government knows what is good and what is bad. And for this, we need to reinstate the spiritual cycles. And we are not doing it. It's not happening. It was working at a certain degree at Baba's time. Why after Baba's passing and the mandali's passing, we don't have such a body of spiritually mature persons who work together and create energy? There's no energy in this community. In the sense that we don't receive any messages from anyone. In all the centers, we receive some monthly messages. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sad. All the centers, we have beautiful people. I sometimes enter all kinds of Baba Zoom talks, participate in different groups.
Yeah.
We have a great community, great talents, great of everything, but something is not in focus. We don't know how to bring it to focus. It's very sad.
Well, sometimes, you get moments of energy. You're right.
In order to develop it, we have to develop the consciousness. What it means to recreate the spiritual cycle. We have to take the responsibility. If nobody is saying it, it's not going to happen. Simple as that. And nobody is saying it.
I need to go now. Basically, I have a couple of people here who we're getting my house ready for sale, and I said, "Oh,
wonderful." Okay, Bill, I'll continue. You will step in it eventually, I believe. I think basically we did what we wanted. I can share a few more anecdotes if the public wishes. I prepared more material. And later on, I've noticed more people entering and watching it, a few dozens. So.
Yeah, so for them, okay. So.
And what I want to say, we started here and there to speak about the book I wrote on Genesis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
This is, I don't remember if you were present when I was sharing it in the past few weeks. Here and there, I was requested. But this is its own, it needs to have its own special sessions. Because to talk about this for 10, 15 minutes is not enough to get started. On every Thursday, I'm getting together with 3 Israelis. We speak, reading it in Hebrew, which is totally different experience.
Yeah.
And we met last Thursday, last night. It was wonderful. And there is I talked to them about spiritual circles, and we are a triangle. Spiritual circles is composed of 4 triangles. So we are a triangle. We are quite solid already for some time. We're sharing together. We put everything on the table with the good spirits and there is love and communion. And this is about a spiritual circle. So what's the big deal of doing it? But if I would be willing to give a whole let's say a seminar over this, but this might take
a few sessions.
It might take 1.5 to 2 years.
Oh.
For weekly meetings.
Yeah. Well,
yes. To get really deep into it. You decide to think about this between you and Angela, if you want to give time for this, and we can do it with participants or not, it doesn't matter.
Seminar on Genesis, specifically Genesis, is that what you're thinking? Is that right?
It is the book of Genesis, the book of Exodus. The book of Genesis is dedicated to the creation of states of consciousness, like God speaks. The book of Exodus is a book of initiation. All the stories there are examples of what the aspirant has to undergo. The 10 plagues, all what's going on. These are ran out of the proper word, it doesn't matter. Analogy.
Okay.
Analogies to
Okay.
teach us what we are going to undergo on the spiritual path till reach God realization. God realization in the Torah is ascending to Mount Sinai and receiving the Torah.
Mm.
That's a state of God realization. The Torah doesn't say it exactly, but I received all these insights from Baba in Mirabat long time ago. So you decide if you want
I'll
but
talk.
to speak about this here, 10, 15 minutes, it is like you even don't start to warm up the engine.
Okay.
If you understand what I'm saying. It's up to you to decide. If you want it, and I don't mind to do it alone. I give it, people can listen to it, can record it, and put it online. People can listen to it or not. It's up to you.
Okay.
You can find a time for this.
For today, would you just like to continue and end the meeting on your own? I need to go, and I have these people help that I need to
So you have to
help me with.
switch me to be the host. Or I think I'm the host, no?
Yeah,
I'm the host?
you are. Yeah.
Okay, so when you will come in, then we'll stop the recording. I also know now how to do it more or less. And till he comes, I'll share more anecdotes and stories which I prepared for this evening.
If you press end, it will automatically stop the recording and
Okay.
send it on. So all you have to do is press end for the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess you will come in
half an hour.
half an hour. Will come anyway, and
Yeah.
we will end it because as long as the people want to share, I can share. I have more anecdotes and stories, and if you want to quit, we can quit. That's very nice. It was good having you again.
Oh my gosh, it's nice to be back, and that movie was priceless. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Quite a rare gift.
How-
Unbelievable. We don't have any record. We have quite a few pictures of her. There are videos from Delmonico and the Mayor Center 1956, and many still pictures, but such a video in her home in Jerusalem. You see the landscape, the porch where we used to sit together.
Those boys were inspired, Irwin and Eddie, to go around to document all these people who met Baba.
Yeah, they made a wonderful, unbelievable,
Yeah.
amazing one.
Yes, truly. Okay, well, Jay Baba for now.
Jay Baba.
Okay. Jeff, see you next time. Huh? Bye, Jeff.
It's a pleasure, Betty. It's wonderful to see you. Jay Baba. Whatever you're doing, God bless you.
I'm getting my house ready to sell. Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
It will be done. Believe me, it will happen. You'll see.
I need to hear that.
It's going to happen for sure, and it's not going to take too much time.
Yeah, I'll be talking to you. I'd like to have a.
All right. You have my number. Okay, Betty. Jay Baba. Beautiful to see you.
Okay. You want me to? I'll share a few Baba anecdotes with your kind permission.
Sure. I'm going to have a little lunch as you talk. Yeah.
Yes. Lutfi? Yes. 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 We have plenty. What is this here? Wondering what is this? No. It's something else. I have to look for something else. Just a minute. Actually, I prepared something. Also, where is this thing which I prepared? Also, not this. Okay. Do you see this?
Says Baba family has started. Giordano Bruno.
Giordano Bruno. Last week, I spoke briefly about the skit I wrote on Giordano Bruno. If you would enter my website, meirbabaisrael.com, the English section, you get into articles. In the articles, there are Baba skits. But this particular skit, for whatever reason, I didn't include, the way it was on my computer. Kept. So what's happening with these Baba stories that I'm portraying how I'm entering the court of the Lord, the highest of the high, and the Lord is as if sitting in the middle of a circle and is being encircled by the great lords of creation. Each one of them is a supreme being. And all top issues of the creation are being cut. So I'll tell you these stories. The Lord brought the tormented body of Giordano Bruno to the court of the highest of the high and placed the body before the Lord. Now, Giordano Bruno was burnt alive in the year 1600 by the church, by the Catholic Church of Italy, if I'm not wrong, because he was giving them troubles, not because he did bad things, like who knows what, committing crimes. He was thinking thoughts about the creation. He was saying things which disturbed the peace and the hegemony and the control of this so-called church, which is, if in the beginning we asked why Jews don't accept Jesus, because they don't accept this church. That's actually what happened. The past 1,000 years, the church became complete black magic, controlling the masses. It's a long, bad story. It doesn't matter. Now, what's happening in the court, that when the Lord was busy with something and he was not attentive to the lords surrounding him, it was the duty of Lord Moses to approach him. But beloved Lord was deeply engrossed with something. His left leg was held as if he was trying to avoid stepping on something. And he was all focused on this something next to his left small toe. Lord Moses cleared his throat. Immediately, beloved Baba turned his gaze away from this and beamed like 50,000 glorious suns at his darling Moses. Yes, my dear Moses, what can I do for you? Well, my lord, we brought to the court the body of Giordano Bruno. Really? What happened? Muttered Baba and turned his gaze back to this something next to his left leg. Moses couldn't see anything, so he came closer, but still saw nothing. Yes?
This is like it's like a story that you wrote, correct?
Yes, this is a story. I kept on writing all kinds of stories, and this is a story I wrote. Yeah,
just one word. I tell you, this is, brother. When you use the word Baba muttered, M-U-T-T-E-R, Bob, really what
yes.
happened? Muttered, Baba. That word muttered I think you want to change that word.
Yes,
Mutter,
yes, please.
I think it's better, not because I know better.
Yes, please.
That word muttered, I think it's a good idea to change that word muttered. Really, what happened when you write the word muttered?
So to
It's not,
erase it, I erase it completely.
just use a different word.
I erased
Really?
it. I
Okay.
erased it. Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
this. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
If you correct my mistakes in my English, I'm deeply grateful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please continue.
Wonderful. Moses couldn't see anything, so he came closer, but still saw nothing. So he came even closer. You must be Lord Moses to dare coming so close to the Lord of the universe. He almost touched Baba's left leg and followed Baba's gaze. There, next to the left toe of his left foot, was a tiny mesh of lines, scribbled on the dust like a spider web, almost unseen. Many lines, more or less straight, converged into a center. What are these lines, my lord? Asked Lord Moses with wonderment, since he had never seen such a thing before. This is the entire sanskaric makeup, or maybe better say mesh, of the universe, answered Baba, with an air of nonchalance. You have to understand, this is my English, whatever I managed. Just a minute, I think the telephone is ringing. Maybe it's my wife. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back to you. I had to take care of some emergency.
Of course. Etzion, where you have this is the entire sanskaric makeup. Makeup is fine. I think if you use the word map or panoramic map,
The entire Sanskrit constitution.
no, the whole sentence is fine, but where you have the word makeup, I would suggest you use map.
Map?
M-A-P, map.
I did. Okay. I corrected it, thank you. Answered Baba with an air of nonchalance. Lord Moses was mystified. This is the entire Sanskaric map, correct this, thank you, of the universe. All these little lines, you can erase them all with a slight movement of your small toe. It is very easy for me to erase entire Sanskaric map of the universe. It is actually a constant problem for me not to erase it.
One second,
What is-
Etzion.
Yes,
Where you have the word map this time, then I would use makeup. It works and it fits there better. Yeah, I would use makeup there by map. Yep.
the entire Sanskaric makeup of the universe. It is actually a constant problem for me not to erase it. And what is this long convoluted line? It looks very different than the others. which are more or less straight lines. Baba sighed. This funny line is sanskaric makeup of your humankind. And Baba sent a hard, grave look at Moses. As you can see, they are more or less straight, moving towards the center. But your humankind is going around itself aimlessly, endlessly. Look at this line. It represents universe. Just made it up. 747-68/8, because they are endless. Each time got a number. There are an infinite number of universe, and the court Abdal is a manager of the court, ran out of names, so they started to number them. Baba gazed admiringly at Lord with the same number. Each universe has a Lord. The Lord doesn't have a name, but the number 749 Who was in charge of this universe? It is almost straight. The inhabitants of this universe please me very much. They walk with 83% concord, listen to their Lord, and do their best to obey him. If it's 83%, everything moves quite nicely, not 100%. You will see later on the reasons why I wrote all this. I am considering erasing 79% of their sanskaras. Then the spiritual journey of the souls who populate universe 749, etc., will be rendered smooth and easy. They will achieve the goal in a relatively short time. Baba glanced at the court of the lords with a questioning expression on his face. Most of them nodded their heads with consent. The divine beloved would almost always place such issues before his court for approval. Since the majority said yes, Baba extremely gently erased with his little toe 79% of the sanskaras of that universe. Well, this was another miracle, since Baba's toe was actually bigger than the entire mesh of lines. It is another mystery to be solved in another story. Moses, who was still standing next to Baba, cleared his throat again. Yes, my dear Moses, answered the Lord without lifting his eyes from that mesh. What about Giordano Bruno? What about him? Responded the Lord cryptically. We, the Lords of the universe, would like him to join us. Really? What did he do to earn this? He gave his life for the sake of truth, for your own cause. Is that so? Yes, he deliberately threw himself into the machinery of ignorance, which did everything to prevent your upcoming advent. Thanks to him, you will be able to come to planet Earth and manifest. Beloved Lord became completely startled. My manifestation is depending on one Giordano Bruno? What is there for me to manifest? Maybe Mr. Bruno will go back and manifest. True to your this testimony, he is ready to express perfection in the flesh. So let him go back there and exemplify perfection in action on earth before your humanity. I have done enough of this. Baba, even I didn't do what he did for your sake. Wait again, sorry. My beloved, even I didn't do what he did for your sake. He was tested by ignorance for 8 long years. He was in prison for 8 years, tortured on daily basis, Giordano, in the dungeon of the church or something. Not one day. And they didn't spare any trick in order to break his mind and soul, but to no avail. He is unbroken, truly unprecedented. Baba blushed with anger. He almost sent an unhappy gaze at his Moses. I don't remember.
Check, Etzion. When you say
Yes.
Baba blushed with anger, the word blushed.
He became red. His face became red.
Okay. See, blushed has a very positive, sometimes a person blushes because they've been praised or they feel embarrassed because of praise.
Wonderful.
blushed. I'm looking for Baba.
His face became red. Baba's face became red with anger.
I like that. Yes, that definitely works.
Appreciate your comments.
I thought you were on the line above that. I thought you were on the line above that where it says Baba blushed with anger. Over here. But put the words back here. I don't want you to miss the words that you had already.
Yeah, I made a notice.
But I don't want you to. Can you get those other words back that you had? After Baba, apostrophe S. No. BABA apostrophe, then the S.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm red with anger. Improving.
Right.
He almost sent an unhappy gaze at his Moses. I don't remember that I gave my Torah to Giordano Bruno. This is true, my beloved, but all of us, the lords of the universe, voted unanimously in his favor. All we need is your signature to finalize the paperwork. Hope you see the humor behind all this. All of a sudden, Baba became his sweet self again. He thought for a long moment, all right then, if you all voted unanimously, let us try him for 10 more lifespans, just to make sure that he is consistent. I wrote it during March 2009. Hope to see there are all kinds of stories about Giordano Bruno and his articles, etc. He's quite a unique personality, unusual human being. I love one of his admirers and his unique personality in the spiritual history. So what I was trying to offer in this story, some of the particulars of what's happening while we're walking on the path. We think we're doing something, and here Mr. Bruno, while I was studying his life, and I think behind the veil, he brought about this circumstance, maybe subconsciously, he wanted to get arrested because he escaped Italy, he went to somewhere else in Europe. He was quite a philosopher and a lecturer, and for whatever impulse, he came back to Italy, even he knew that he might get arrested, which he did, and they put him in a dungeon for 8 years. Hopefully he will confess and regret himself, because such people are all usually threats for such organizations. You know the story of El Halaj, the Sufi master, who ran the streets and said, Ana el Haq, Ana el Haq, El Haq. In Arabic, I'm the law, which is the name of God. For this, he got arrested, also put him in dungeon for a few years, till the emir, the king, ordered his gory execution. Some of us study, he appears in the Baba literature. So for Baba, all these sacrifices are a non-event. He was not impressed by the sacrifice of Giordano Bruno and nobody else. He said, okay, you want him here? Let's try him for next 10 more lifespans. I hope you understand what is behind the story. We complain about this and that, we do all kinds of things, and to impress the Lord is not simple, not a mean achievement. Okay, you want something else? You want more?
Sure. I just have to do one thing. I'll be right back.
Okay. my website. If you go to my website, there are more skits, and most other skits I really gave accurate description of the court of the Lord. Everything is a work of imagination, of course. This is not something which I've been there in the physical state of mind, seeing visions. Not, it's all a work of imagination, but when you read it, it feels very real. So meanwhile, I'll share something which I want to share. What is this? No. Just a minute. Where's this thing? Just a minute, I'll open it. I thought I prepared it in advance. Just a minute.
Sorry.
Okay. I wanted to share the Baba story from Lord Meher. Just a minute, I'll open it.
Sure. Etzion, when I saw your teacher from Israel, the woman that you showed us the pictures of,
This is Carrie Ben Shammai, the first disciple of Meir Baba in Israel.
you look very similar to her. I thought that was you until you began to, you look a great deal like her. Sometimes our face kind of becomes more like our teacher or mentor's face. I thought that was you. And I wasn't imagining that.
Never thought about this, never felt we are so poles apart. We are such totally different personalities. She was extrovert, she was a whole world, she was running around, and I'm introvert, I'm a shy person sitting inside myself. It took me a very long time before I managed to open my mouth and give a talk like this.
But I'm talking the physical appearance, your face.
I understand what you say, but if
Yeah.
you think so, interesting.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. Yeah. And you were very introverted. So was I once. Wow.
You see, I was sitting with her for 14 years. I never said once that I know Meir Baba is avatar. And she kept on complaining about this, sent letters about Baba. She was abandoned by Baba, and I was next to her all the time, taking care of her. And she was complaining about this and that. Very strange story with Baba and his humor and creativity. Okay, I'll share you this from Lord Meher. Do you see it?
Yes. It's very clear right there.
Wonderful. This is a very powerful message. Baba explained, all this is a delusion, speaking about all this life and the world. Whatever you see, what you hear, and what you think is all illusion. Whatever you see externally, that too is imagination. But its grip is so tight that you cannot free yourselves. You are the possessors of infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite bliss, but you are so helpless due to the grip of illusions that reality has slipped out of your hands. For instance, you are all sitting here, but in actuality, you are not sitting here. Nor will you get up and go anywhere because of this illusion. You feel as if you do. You have to free yourselves from this illusory grip, which in fact does not exist. It is actually as if you are dreaming. In the dream, you play, you eat, and so do many things, but in truth, you don't do a thing. while you are dreaming, suppose I appear in your dream and tell you that you are dreaming, still you will go on dreaming, and my telling will not help awaken you in the least. However much you are told that you are dreaming, that will not put an end to your dream. You would only go on dreaming. But when I slept you soundly, you will immediately be awakened and your dream will end. In the same way, to awaken you from your present dream of sitting here, such a sleep is necessary. However much I explain to you now that you are dreaming and that all this you sitting in front of me, talking, moving about, eating, drinking, and so forth is all a dream. It will be of no use to you because you will not understand it. But if I were to slap you, if my grace were to descend on you, you would be awakened automatically and instantly you would realize me. You will then know that all this is a dream. The whole creation is a dream and that you are dreaming day and night. Japa and tapa, repetition of God's name and penance or austerities are also a dream. All these acts create bindings. Fasting too is a binding. To eat is a binding. To escape from this bondage, leave everything to Baba and dedicate to him. In all honesty and with full sincerity, you are everything. The meaning of dedication is that whatever good or bad you do during the 24 hours, attribute them to me. The meaning of this is that you must have full and firm faith that Baba is a sole doer and you do nothing. You should not even have a thought of doing anything, and the belief that I do everything should be so rock-like and natural that you truly feel that Baba does all. But it is extremely difficult to follow this. All my discourses and other spiritual literature have no meaning. They have no substance in them. My present state is due to one kiss from Baba Jan. Never will this state be realized by studying any literature, religious or spiritual. Amazing, huh? Here comes Sayoi. Okay, we just made it on time.
Thank you, Etzion. You stopped at a very interesting, important moment. We continued. Beautiful.
What a
Etzion's reading
powerful
Rodeo. Jay Baba, you. Jay Baba.
Say Baba, all of you. Thank you, appreciate it.
Really beautiful. Who's he? Jay Baba.
Who else is here? I need to have more time on this side.
Go for it.
Who's that? Who else is there?
Yoide, can you check
that?
if I stopped the recording?
No, you're still recording.
I'm still recording.
Yes. Press the stop symbol.